Um, Hi everyone. My name is Rob Kosinski, and I'm a Rush fan. Well, back in the first grade or second grade, a friend of mine in the neighborhood got a wooden recorder. You know, one of those kind of like flute kind of thingies, and I was just kind of fascinated with it. So I got one of my own for Christmas that year, and I kind of took to it right away, and it sort of felt like I had an aptitude for music. Maybe not. Anyways, it wasn't until third grade when we had moved to a new town, and they really had an excellent music program. And pretty much everyone in the third grade started on an instrument. Whether you continued with it beyond third or fourth grade, you know, was kind of up to you. But so I took up the saxophone, and I wanted to play tenor, but there was already tenor was in demand, so I got assigned the alto saxophone. So I played the alto saxophone. I took lessons on the alto sax for a number of years. I also, in the high school jazz band, very briefly played baritone saxophone. So that was my official start in music per se. Also, growing up, we always had a piano in the house, and so you kind of plink and plunk, and you're bored and there's nothing to do, and so you go in and sit at the piano and start figuring it out and working out songs, and so I kind of taught myself a little bit of that. And then in sixth grade-ish, seventh grade-ish or so, a friend of mine who was a year older than me in school got a bass guitar, and I was like, oh my God, what is this, a guitar? And I wanted to have a guitar then, because it was for me, it was wow, this is the coolest thing ever. This dude's got a guitar. Oh my God, his parents bought him a real guitar. I was first introduced to Rush in 81, 82. I think Signals might have already been out. I'm not 100% sure, but that same friend of mine who was a year older than me, all of a sudden, he got into a band. Oh my God, he's in a band. He's in the band. And although at the time, crack cocaine, I wasn't really a thing yet. I mean, probably people were doing it, but it wasn't in the public eye or in the media spotlight. But he had to have been seriously addicted to crack cocaine, because he asked me to sing for the band, and I was god awful. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, fingernails on a chalkboard. And I'm not just being modest, because modest, well, you guys know me if you've been following me. It's not in my vocabulary, but whatever. But I was terrible.
Don't you know all the rabbit feels going under your spinning wheels? Riding into splashing mud, witching towards the mud. Frozen in the fatal blind, but the wheels of time just pass you by.
And so he says, yeah, we're going to learn this song called Closer to the Heart by Rush. And I'm like, okay, Rush, Closer to the Heart, whatever. And like I said, Moving Pictures and Signals and stuff, I'm pretty sure it was right around that time. I'm pretty sure Signals was already out, because he had asked me to go to the concert, and because he had an extra ticket and I couldn't go for whatever reason. But anyways, I digress. So he gave me a Farewell to Kings so I could listen to Closer to the Heart and discover to my horror that I would not even have a chance of singing this if it were 2 octaves lower than it is.
And the blue hole like blazes must be the one to start a whole new reality. Closer to the heart, closer to the heart.
But so I listened to the rest of this album, and I'm just like, what is this stuff? I want to play this. It was just like a mind-altering thing for me. Well, I play many instruments and not altogether well most of the time. I mean, I call myself jack of all and master of none. I've never really taken lessons on anything. I've just kind of picked things up here and there. But on guitar, I would have to cite from the early days. I mean, like a lot of other guys coming up in that time, like Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, Alan Holdsworth. And then you get like into like the 80s metal guys like George Lynch from Dokken actually was kind of like a big influence on me. Brad Gillis from Night Ranger. On the bass side, which was the first instrument that I kind of, first guitarish instrument that I actually kind of did, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, and actually John Taylor from Duran Duran. I mean, that may come as a surprise. Just the way he would like lock with the drummer and like the rhythm section would become like this single-minded entity. And it was really, really cool. As far as bands go, I'd already been listening to like a lot of Kansas. I love the hell out of Kansas. Styx. Was in a band that did a lot of Rolling Stones for a while as a guitar player. And so that influenced me a lot. And like I said, like Night Ranger, a lot of those like power ballad kind of guys influenced me a lot. I mean, obviously other than Rush. In more recent years, I'm Dream Theater since the early 90s. Recently, like Neil Morse Band. I almost missed that. The Neil Morse Band. Check out the Neil Morse Band. The Similitude of a Dream is probably one of the greatest concept albums to come out in like the last 20 years. Clockwork Angels notwithstanding. But other than that, yeah, check out Neil Morse's like recent stuff. It is just, it like hits all the notes. You'll love it or you'll hate it, but no, it just really, it harkens back to like the golden era of prog, like 70s, 80s, like Yes, Kansas, Styx, Rush. I'm just going on too much about the Neil Morse Band, but yeah, definitely check out the Neil Morse Band. You're like asking me to choose which one of my kids I like better. There's no answer to that. However, I will say that personally, I lean heavily towards Grace Under Pressure through Counterparts, which I consider like the synth era, and then that kind of transition-y era, Presto Roll the Bones Counterparts before they got back to like the basic like kind of rock and roll stuff. If I really had to pick one child, I would say that it's Presto, and that's because Presto was the soundtrack to a classic teenager coming of age journey that I took once. And I guess that'll be a story for another day. But yeah, I listened to the hell out of that album when it came out, and it just so much that means just so much to me personally on Presto. Well, it was absolutely something else. I mean, like any other job, when you're playing other people's music for a living, covers, which is primarily what I do, it definitely becomes a job. I mean, how many times can you play Mustang Sally, no offense, Brown Eyed Girl, no offense, and it's just, you know, and after so many years of doing it and so many nights of looking out at empty rooms or sparsely filled rooms with people who are more interested in the game that's on the television, I decided I'm just going to play some stuff that I love and that means something to me, you know? So I started obviously trying to learn Rush. And the challenge of it is how do you convert this incredibly complex music to like one guy with an acoustic guitar?
I'll phrase this moment a little bit longer, making sensation a little bit stronger. Experience slips away, strangers to each other, full of sliding panels and illusion show, hacking well-rehearsed routines. We're playing from the heart, it's all for one to know. Just between us, I think it's time for us to recognize the differences we sometimes fear to show. Just between us, I think it's time for us to realize the space in between. Leave room for you and I to grow. Living in a fish island, gone in the camera eye. I have no heart to lie. I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend. And all the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers and portrayers, and each another's audience outside the gilded gate. Living in the limelight, the universal treat for those who wish to see. Those who wish to.
And honestly, the biggest criticism that I've had doing it is like, oh, Alex didn't play that. You didn't play that exactly right. Alex does this or da da da. I'm just like, well, Alex has a bass player and a drummer who are like world class. And I'm trying to take everything and just bring it to you in like a vibe or a that kind of encompasses like the whole like intent of the song. So yeah, no, I don't play it at all probably like Alex plays it, and also Alex wasn't singing the lead vocals, and so I just do what I do, and but I dig it. It makes me happy to do it. And so many people have come up to me afterwards and said, oh my God, I've never heard Rush played by one guy on an acoustic guitar. So take it for what it is. I played in 2 Rush tribute bands. One says Geddy and one says Alex, incidentally. I did the air quotes because we didn't call ourselves a Rush tribute band, and it was never our intention. It's just that we just were all very like-minded, and we wanted to play Rush stuff, so we played a lot of Rush songs. And well, the first band I was on bass and vocals and keyboards, and we were called Free Will, not a Rush tribute band. And then we found out there was another Free Will when we were in Boston at the time. In New York City, there was another band called Free Will. And so we're like, oh, we got to change our name. And so we changed it to After Image, not a Rush tribute band. Yeah, so they weren't like Rush tribute bands per se. Rush has influenced everything I've written. Rush was like my primary motivation for playing bass guitar, electric guitar, keyboards. I mean, like most of you, it's the soundtrack of my life. How can it not influence like the original music that I write? Oh, absolutely. Specific examples are on my latest album, Spark, the very first song called Book of Lies. For me anyways, I hear a heavy Rush influence there. The second song called Something Man is also very, again, for me anyways, heavily influenced by Rush. On my album I think it's the second song. It's called Unsung Heroes, and that is absolutely 1000% inspired by Rush, and I'm sure that anybody would be able to hear that. And on an even earlier album from the late 90s called Traveler's Tales, there's a song called United. And it's actually a song I want to re-record, now with modern technology and modern instrument sounds and stuff. I'm sure if you actually listen to that, you'll be able to tell like what Rush song inspired it. By the way, all of these albums are available to listen to for free on my website. But if you're on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Google Play, just look me up, Rob Kaczynski, and you'll find all of it. I do have a bunch more albums out. They're not like rock and roll stuff. It's just a lot of different like stuff that I've done over the years. Well, I would advise that before you get on the toboggan, to make sure you've removed the bottle of vodka from your back pocket and put it in your front pocket. That will really be a safety measure for you. Thanks for your question.
If you liked this video, please leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. Links to my website and all my social media can be found in the description. Thanks for watching.